This smallest of grazes delivers a steamy wallop, because Sanditon on PBS is a proper Regency romance. Two star-crossed lovers who can't express their love through words discover a covert way to do so in public by touching each other has a sensual quality to it. The second episode begins with Charlotte strolling while carrying a message. Ralph's voice can be heard telling the story. He expects that Georgiana's predicament will be resolved soon so Charlotte can come back. Back in town, Arthur scurries about making sure everything is in place. The king is traveling to Sanditon to attend a musical gathering where a well-known soprano from the United States will be singing. After discussing his plans with Lady Susan, he decides against the bagpipes and makes a few small adjustments as a result of her advice. The odds are stacked against Georgiana, so Tom has been trying to find her a lawyer to defend her at the hearing. However, everyone has turned the case down. It appears that the Lord Chancellor, chosen to handle the case, has no sympathy for her position. Ralph, Charlotte's fiancé, will miss the opportunity to see the king because he has gone back to his farm, while Charlotte stays in Sanditon to support Georgiana as she battles the possibility of losing her inheritance in a legal battle initiated by Charles Lockhart. Lady Susan advises Charlotte that Georgiana's case might serve as justification for staying in Sanditon. However, if she truly adores Ralph and desires to wed him, she should go to him. The Lord Chancellor assigned to the case is known to be against abolition and is, therefore, opposed to Georgiana for a number of clear reasons. Charlotte, however, wants to make sure that her friend has a great attorney, a challenging prospect. No attorney will accept her case. Charlotte suggests that Georgiana compose a letter outlining the injustice of her situation to the newspapers. Alexander Colborne learns about Georgiana's situation and hurriedly departs for London. He is not there when Lady Montrose and Lydia, one of his riding partners, arrive at his farm. Instead, Leo and Augusta welcome them with a display of intolerance. Her mother is clearly not pleased by it and doesn't support it. Lydia finds it amusing and does. She is now reluctant to wed Georgiana to her son for fear that Georgiana will lose her fortune in court. Alexander makes a guest appearance with him, his sibling Samuel, a lawyer. Samuel is willing to accept Georgiana's case and supports her position. But first, he needs to see how strong Georgiana is. He provokes her by asking pointed questions about her mother and previous romantic relationships, simulating the type of experience she will have if she speaks in her defense. Georgiana makes the decision to skip court because she can't bear the shame in front of everyone. Samuel informs Charlotte that although the hearing will proceed regardless, Georgiana has little chance of succeeding if she chooses not to speak for herself. Before the trial starts in 2 days, Charlotte makes a decision to attempt to persuade Georgiana to testify. Charlotte and Alexander waited uncomfortably outside as Samuel grilled Georgiana. Alexander mentioned Charlotte's absence to Leo and Augusta, though he was obviously not just referring to them. Alexander's curiosity in Charlotte is noted by Samuel. Later, he remarks that there are so many interesting things going in Sanditon that call for careful observation, and he enjoys seeing the relationships develop. Edward determines he will impress Augusta with a confessional poem, and he successfully begs Reverend Hankins for a break from his duties so he can write it. In order to talk with Augusta and ask her to read his poem, Edward waits outside Sanditon's stayhouse. Beatrice Hankins, however, counsels him to talk from the heart if he finds it difficult to write it. Beatrice herself is moved to write. She has been communicating with Dr. Fuchs, even though she is keeping this information from her sibling. Once more, Edward finds a way to visit Augusta and inform her that his poetry is poor. She finally chooses to break off contact with him because she thinks he's only after her inheritance and tells him to stop using his false and piteous flattery. But it's obvious she finds it amusing. Raleigh Price, a successful investor, does not pay Lady Denham much consideration, although he has embraced the challenge of persuading her to accept his investment in a Sanditon hotel. He rejected her at the altar for a more wealthy bride 50 years ago, or at least that is how she recalls it. He can remember her leaving him. She is, however, ready to accept a hotel built with his funds if she receives a cut of the profits after speaking with him. Mary Parker has proposed that the hotel be built on a hilltop with a view, but Price wants it to be built by the sea, which would mean tearing down some fishermen's shacks. Tom is uneasy, but he assumes Lady Denham still opposes the hotel's construction, so he thinks it won't be built. He assures Mary that Lady Denham, and he won't permit Price to erect structures over people's houses. The only exception is Lady Denham, who, to Tom's discomfort, makes it obvious that she supports Price's plan. While waiting for the regal recital, which, unbeknownst to almost everyone, will no longer be royal, she shares this information with Tom. The king will not be visiting, according to a message that Arthur has received. Inferring the truth, Lord Montrose informs Arthur that there are rumors that Lady Susan has been abandoned in favor of a new lover. She does express astonishment at the king's cancellation, but she keeps it a secret because she understands what it means for her. Arthur is devastated, especially considering that soprano Greenhorn went out of her way to travel to Sanditon and take advantage of the unique chance to perform for the king as a black woman. Lord Montrose suggests that they conceal the king's absence from her and inform her of his inability to attend only after the show. When she comes in Sanditon, he even dons finery and his title to impress her. Arthur, however, is unable to lie and tells Greenhorn the reality. She promises to perform anyway, so that Arthur won't lose all the money he invested in the recital. Lord Montrose intervenes and defends Arthur. Arthur requests that Lord Montrose use his first name because he finds him to be pleasant and comforting. Around the recital, other connections also start to warm up. Price confesses to Lady Denham that his biggest mistake was not going to church with her all those years ago. As is customary for him, Samuel observes Lady Susan's hurt at being ignored by the king and starts a discussion with her. After meeting Edward, who wants to just walk with her, Augusta asks for a headache to escape going to the recital after receiving a letter from him. And at the performance, Charlotte and Alexander find themselves seated next to one another. They gently hold hands as Greenhorn performs a love aria. Georgiana decides to battle for her inheritance during the performance. She will give an independent testimony in court. Therefore, Sandul and she head to London.